In my entire gaming history, I don't think I've been more hyped for a game than I was for Smash Bros. Ultimate. The game features hundreds of video game franchises and dozens of my favorites at that, and every time there was a reveal, the hype surrounding it was major, no matter who the character was. Well, maybe not every time, but the point stands. The speculation on who might be joining the fray was without a doubt my favorite part about this game. And that hype extended even beyond the game's initial 2018 launch with the creation of the Fighter's Pass. The Fighter's Pass was a bundle of DLC packs that added in 5 new challengers in Pass 1 and 6 in Pass 2. That made for a total of 12 DLC characters added to the game, and... wait, 12? You just said there were 5 packs in the first wave, plus 6 in the second. That's 11, so what gives? Well, we'll get to that, but first, let's talk a little bit more about the pass's structure. Each DLC pack on its own cost $5.99, contained a fighter, a stage, a spirit board, and some music tracks. This makes the first wave of fighters come out to a total of $30, and the second wave a total of $36. However, if you purchase the bundle, you would save $1 on each fighter, with the passes costing $25 and $30 respectively. This was a genius move for multiple reasons. For one, it saves the consumer money and lets them buy all the DLC in a few steps rather than 12 separate steps. Secondly, it encourages people to get all the DLC to get a better deal, creating more revenue for Nintendo. Think about it this way. If a significant amount of people bought both passes, as well as the standalone DLC character we'll talk about shortly, and assuming that they already own the base game, then that's close to $120, which is the price of 2 copies of the game. Nintendo made bank by bundling these because it was like a bunch of people bought 2 copies. Each wave of DLC also dropped with a handful of Mii fighters that either corresponded with the series that the new challenger came from, or came straight out of left field. We'll talk about these as we go through all the DLC fighters and analyze what I like about them, what I would change about some of the packs, and if I could create my own 5-slot Fighters Pass 3, that'll never happen, who I would include. We'll cover the base game at some point in the future, but for now, let's dig into this DLC. The first DLC character was revealed in the final Smash Ultimate dedicated Direct on November 1st, 2018, and was this game's Weirdo character. The bonus fighter in question was Piranha from the Super Mario franchise, and was one of my 2 mains in this game. He was shadow dropped on January 29th, 2019, a bit shy of his predicted February 2019 release estimate. He wasn't actually a paid DLC at first. Instead, if you bought the game and registered it with My Nintendo before January 2019, you'd get access to him for free. For those that didn't buy the game early enough or just forgot to register on time, he became available for purchase later for $4.99, $1 less than all other DLC characters. Before we talk about why he's discounted, let's take a look at his trailer and see how it holds up today. The trailer opens with Mario walking angrily towards something, and at the time, a lot of people thought it was Geno or something. It wasn't, however, and instead, this potted pugilist destroys our favorite plumber and jumps into battle. This trailer was pretty run-of-the-mill, just showing off his basic capabilities, although the metal version of Mario's 1-2 theme does earn some brownie points with me. The reason that he was $1 cheaper than the other DLC characters was because they didn't give him a stage, music, or spirit board, and honestly, that makes me kinda sad. Maybe give him a stage based on Piranha Plant Slide from Mario Kart 8, or something jungle-themed to reference the Piranha Creepers in Super Mario 3D World. As for the music, we could always use more remixes, and as for spirits, just include spirits of all the big bads from the Mario franchise. I wish he came with more stuff than just himself, because honestly, I think he was one of the most memorable DLC characters. As for gameplay, I'm gonna keep the gameplay sections in this video short and sweet. He relies on heavy-hitting attacks and minor zoning to get the job done, and I think his neutral B is one of the best in the entire game in terms of utility. It's a shame that he turned out to be a low-tier character, but I don't pick based on tiers, so I really don't care about that. His final smash is also really cool, bringing out PD Piranha to trap his opponents and deal some major knockback. As for the little things, his alternate costumes were also very well done, referencing different species of piranha plant from around the Mario universe. I usually use the dry piranha, which makes him look like a skeleton. His taunts are pretty cute and give what is usually a generic enemy a whole lot of personality. His victory screens aren't anything to write home about, although the one where he literally kills Mario is pretty damn funny. Overall, I'd rate this DLC character a 7 out of 10. It was a good move making him a limited time freebie because I'm not sure if people would have outright paid for him. However, if they used a more sought after character as an early purchase bonus, it would have upset a lot of people. I feel like he was a good middle ground in that regard. Moving on to Challenger Pack 1, the first character of Fighters Pass 1. The first official DLC character was revealed at the 2018 Game Awards on the night of December 6th and released on April 17th, 2019. The character in question was Joker from Persona 5, and looking back on it, man was this out of left field. I'll be honest and say that I had no clue who he was when he was revealed. In fact, I didn't even watch the Game Awards live that year. But now that I'm better acquainted with more video game franchises, I wish that I was watching live because his initial reveal was one of the best in Smash Ultimate's trailer history. Nothing prepares you for the fact that he's about to be in Smash other than the line, "We've been invited." This reveal was wild, and I wish that I'd appreciated it at the time like I do now. Full disclosure, I didn't start watching these reveals live until Steve, and I wish that I started sooner, but life gets in the way. Joker was then teased in a February 13th, 2019 Nintendo Direct before a new content approaching video detailing Joker was randomly dropped on April 16th, 2019. These new content videos would come to be known as Sakurai Presents, and I miss them a lot. Just the personal aspect of them and seeing how much love he had for his games, but that's a story for another day. He was released the next day, and almost the entirety of Nintendo's online servers went down from people trying to download him, which just goes to show how much hype was surrounding this game's DLC. Joker is a character that relies on quick movement and carefully timed attacks to allow him to build a meter, his Rebellion gauge, to summon Arsene, one of the more famous personas that he has in his home game. Arsene just buffs all of his attacks, changing a few such as his up special to make them more viable, and man, is this one of the most broken things in this game. It lets Joker get early kills and essentially guarantees the opponent's death if used right. It got to the point where I just started calling his gauge Win Meter. I believe that he's still in the top 3 characters today, behind Pyro Mithril and Pikachu. I could be dead wrong about that, because I fell off of this game's competitive scene a long time ago, but that's what I remember. Besides the balancing issues, his moveset fits him really well, and I think he's one of the better designed DLC characters, although at the time people were scrutinizing him for being too similar to Samus of all characters, just based on the up air being similar. Oh, Twitter, will there ever be a day where you'll stop complaining about stupid crap and generally being the worst platform on the planet? No, probably not. That aside, his final smash is one of my favorites. All Out Attack is full of persona charm, and if you end the game with it, it'll segue right into the victory screen, which is a detail that I really appreciate. His victory screens are really good and act as callbacks to his series in the post-match screens, and his taunts bring out Morgana to straight up piss off your opponent. His alt colors are also pretty good, with 5 of them referencing other characters in the series, and 2 of them being his Academy uniform. I always like to see alternate costumes that make tweaks to the model. I think it's neat. His stage is called Mementos, and it's honestly one of the weirder stages in this game. I don't play on it often because the colors of it honestly hurt my eyes, but I think it's cool that the Phantom Thieves show up in the background. The stage can also change color depending on which music you have selected, and that's a really nice touch that they didn't have to implement, but did. Joker's spirit board is full of Persona characters, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna talk too much about the spirit boards because there's not much to say about them, they're JPEGs, but they're just a cool feature to have, and that's all. His music selection isn't too shabby. 11 tracks from Persona 5, Persona 4, and Persona 3, with some remixes thrown in there. As for the Mii costumes, we get a Morgana hat, a Persona 4 protagonist costume, a Teddy hat, a Persona 3 protagonist costume, and Tails and Knuckles from Sonic. I do like that some of the costumes don't always match the home series of the character. This adds to the mystery of who's going to get deconfirmed. Plus, they are standalone DLC after all. It's not like they're parts of the Challenger Pack and stealing slots from other Persona characters who could be included as Miis. Releasing alongside Joker was a free new mode that was included in the 3.0 update, and this was known as the Stage Builder, a feature that allows users to create their own playable stages, and it's just okay. Like, there are some cool elements, like layers and such, but there's just not enough here to really build anything substantial. No one talks about this feature anymore, and it's probably because it's lacking. You can't create your own backgrounds, you can't create massive stages for 8 players to play on because for some reason it limits that. I just wish there was more here to justify its existence, but I suppose that having it here is better than not having it at all. Overall, I'd rate this DLC wave a 9 out of 10. This character defied expectations and created the idea that anyone could get into Smash Bros. Through the DLC. One of the best reveals overall for this game. On to Challenger Pack 2. Hero from Dragon Quest was revealed in Nintendo's E3 Direct on June 11th, 2019, and released just over a month later on July 30th. Hero is the amalgamation of several different Dragon Quest characters bundled into one slot, hence the generic name Hero. Part of me likes this decision to bundle the Luminary from Dragon Quest XI, Erdrick from Dragon Quest III, Solo from Dragon Quest IV, and 8 from Dragon Quest X? Nah, just kidding, he's from Dragon Quest VIII. Look how stupid you look now. The other part of me, however, doesn't like this decision because it makes the character feel generic, but I suppose that it's been 3 years and I should just get over it. Anyway, his trailer was pretty cool. It sees Link fighting against an army of puppet fighters when the Luminary swoops in to save him. The trailer is full of references to the series, and it's always good to see some cool, animated CGI in Smash trailers. He relies on sword attacks and heavy magic usage to get the job done. He has a mana meter known as his MP meter, and it is used in all of his specials. In his up special, you can charge it to make him launch himself higher in the air, his side special sees him spin in a circle and electrocute anyone in his way, and his neutral special fires a fireball whose size corresponds to how much you charge it. The bigger the size, the more MP that is used. His down B, though, is the real kicker. It contains 21 different moves that can be used in the form of spells. In an effort to keep things brief, I'll only mention a few. Caracal Slash freezes the opponent in place, and Kamikaze kills Hero instantly but does massive damage to anyone in its radius. The two most controversial spells, and also the two that are most fun to use, are Whack and Thwack, attacks that can randomly instantly kill the opponent if they're in the radius of the attack. The higher percent, the more likely they are to be O-code, although you can kill them at 0% and it is hilarious every time. Yeah, I said it, RNG can be fun. What are you gonna do, take a shower and protest? I like the incorporation of this menu into his moveset. It, along with the other specials and moves, makes him feel like an RPG character that stumbled into Smash rather than one that was quickly translated to fit the bill. Some of his moveset, like the Oko moves and random crits that can occur with Smash attacks, do rely on RNG, but it really doesn't matter a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, and Hero sits solidly in the mid-tier, as far as I know. I'm gonna stop talking about his moveset now because I'm risking getting bullied worse than a dude with a primitive haircut. His final smash is really cool. It transports the opponent into a cinematic where every hero not featured in the alt costumes in this game wails on the opponent with a massive electric attack. His victory screens are okay. The only one I really like is the one where he plays with slimes from the series. His taunts are pretty run-of-the-mill, but again, my favorite is the one where he trips over the slime. His alt costumes are the 4 previously mentioned heroes along with a palette swap for each, and again, I'm conflicted. For now, I'll say that it's cool that you get to choose what hero is your favorite and leave it at that. His stage is Yggdrasil's Altar, and it's one where it travels around the world with the background, and I really like it. It represents Dragon Quest pretty perfectly, especially Dragon Quest XI. His spirit board is fine, I like the slime spirits. I guess I just like the slimes, okay? His music selection is pretty lackluster, 2 songs for each palette swap of hero for a total of 8. For a series as expansive as Dragon Quest, I want more music to listen to, but Square is notoriously stingy. Before Fighters Pass 2, Final Fantasy only had 2 songs. The Mii's in this wave were alright. Veronica from Dragon Quest XI, Erdrick from the original Dragon Quest, I think that's who it is, but I might be wrong. Generic martial artist costumes for both male and female Mii's, and a slime hat that they give jiggle physics to for some reason. Jiggle physics are usually used for something else, so... moving on. This wave of DLC gets an 8 out of 10. It's cool, but really lacking in the musical department, and I wish that the hero was just one specific protagonist instead of a blend. Moving on to Challenger Pack 3, also revealed during E3 2019. The Bear and the Bird make their way into the fray, and I honestly didn't think it was going to happen. I appreciate that Microsoft is so keen to play ball with Nintendo, though. Take notes, Sony. See how other people are playing nice in the sandbox? You know what? No. Go sit in the corner. Get your ass in the They were revealed at the tail end of the Nintendo E3 2019 Direct, and Shadow dropped on September 4th, 2019, along with the Sakurai Presents. Their trailer's pretty cute. It's a spoof on the King K. Rool trailer from early in Smash Ultimate's lifespan, and features a ton of callbacks to their home game as well as a final shot that makes it feel straight out of the N64 era. They feel clunky to play, and this makes sense. Most 3D platformers for the N64 era were clunky. And before you come and crucify me, I've played Banjo-Kazooie and it's on the lower end of the clunk scale. So bully me if you want, but it's my opinion. They can zone, fight up close, and deal massive damage with their grounding attacks. Their side B is Wonder Wing, which can only be used 5 times per stock, seeing as it's completely safe to use and does a ton of knockback. I think that this mechanic is pretty well balanced. An invincible move should have some sort of cap on it. Their final smash summons the Ginginator and does a bunch of damage to the opponent in a nice little CGI cutscene. Their victory screens aren't too special, and their alt costumes are all pretty cool, referencing different characters. My favorite is the Gruntilda alt. Their taunts are also pretty fun and really let Banjo and Kazooie's individual personalities shine through. The stage, Spiral Mountain, is right out of the first level of Banjo-Kazooie, and it looks and plays great. The additional detail in the background is also pretty cool, like Gruntilda flying around and bottles popping up. The spirit board is okay, just has a bunch of Banjo spirits, and the music track selection is pretty good as well. 10 tracks with 7 of them being remixes. If they had included the original versions of these tracks as well, it would have been pretty cool, but at least Grant Kirkhope came back to compose for some of this. The Mii costumes that were released with this wave were kinda disappointing, except for one. Goemon from Mystical Ninja, Proto Man and Zero from the Mega Man series, Team Rocket outfits from Pokemon, and Sans from Undertale. This was arguably more hype than the rest of the Sakurai Presents, and it really added to that unexpected factor of anyone can join as a Mii. It also came with a remix of Megalovania composed by Toby Fox himself, and it's cool to see him getting more work on bigger projects. Can't wait to see what he composes for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's also cool that he apparently went to Sakurai's house and fought him in Smash. But that aside, I really wish there were some Banjo outfits, like a Gruntilda costume or a Mumbo Jumbo outfit. But as it stands, at least we got Sans. This DLC wave also included Home Run Contest, and there's not much to say about it other than I'm okay with it being back, and I wish that it was Break the Targets instead. I'm sorry, but there's just more to do in Break the Targets. The fact that this was the last new permanent mode added to Ultimate kinda stung, but it's alright. Overall, I give this wave a 9 out of 10. I like Banjo a lot, but he is kinda clunky to play. Home Run Contest is kinda disappointing, and I wish there were Banjo Mii costumes. Other than that though, this was a great DLC edition. On to Challenger Pack 4, which houses my other main in this game. I honestly didn't know who Terry was when he was first revealed, but his inclusion in Super Smash Bros. Got me to actually play King of Fighters and Fatal Fury, so I guess that the cross-promotion worked well. Hailing from SNK, he was a cool inclusion that was revealed on September 4th, 2019 in that same day Direct as Banjo's Sakurai Presents, and released on November 6th, 2019, the same day as his dedicated Sakurai Presents presentation. His trailer is one of my favorites nowadays, featuring characters from the SNK universe trying to grab the Smash invite before it finally lands in the hands of Terry Bogard. Yes, I know it doesn't actually land in his hands, it's a figure of speech. I just appreciate the pixel art style and how it then translates to his 3D model pretty well. Terry is a classic fighting game character and plays like one, relying on close combat and a single projectile to get by. His special attribute is his Go meter. When he takes over 100% damage in a stock match, or goes under 33% health in a stamina match, he gains the ability to use special inputs to do powerful moves. This is basically a comeback mechanic, and I like it a lot. It gives him the ability to come back from a tight squeeze, and is a clever way to implement actual fighting game command inputs into a platform fighter. His final smash is my absolute favorite in the game, and sees Terry do Power Dunk into Buster Wolf. The amount of energy and personality displayed in this final smash is fantastic, and is a legitimately tempting reason to play with the meter on for me. I never actually play with it on because I don't want to be doxxed by sweaties, but it's tempting. His victory screens are all cool callbacks to victory poses from his games, and I like all of them. His alt costumes are all really cool, and all reference something unique from Player 2 costumes to the Fatal Fury anime. No, just because this one costume references anime does not mean Goku has a chance. Stop asking. His taunts are both fun to use and piss the opponent off with, and add a lot to his personality. His stage, King of Fighters Stadium, is really cool, and I love the detail of it acting as a 2D fighting stage when not on Omega or Battlefield mode. I also think it's awesome that different SNK characters will appear depending on the music. Not Mai, of course, but I'm not going to beat a dead horse and repeat that joke again. His spirit board is certainly a spirit board, but I do appreciate that Geese is a 5-star spirit. His music selection is fantastic. 50 different tracks from different SNK franchises. A lot of the more stingy companies could learn a lot from the generosity here, but I know that they won't, so I won't bother. The Mii costume selection here is also pretty good. Nakaruru from Samurai Shodown, Ryu Sakazaki from Art of Fighting, Iori from King of Fighters, and Akira and Jackie from Virtua Fighter. If their goal was to get more fighting game representation into Smash, it certainly worked well here. Overall, I have to give this DLC wave a 10 out of 10. I might be biased, but even so, 50 music tracks, a detailed stage, good Mii costumes, and a fun character for $5.99 or $4.99 with the Fighters Pass, that's a steal. On to the final slot in Fighters Pass 1, and wait, the entirety of this pass has been third-party, so I bet the final slot will be too. I can't wait to see who it'll be. Maybe Doomguy, or Dante, or Master Chi. Oh. Bileth was the 5th Challenger Pack, revealed on January 16th, 2020, and released on January 28th, just under 2 weeks later. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this out of the way. This is the most disappointing Challenger Pack in my opinion. I get that the haha Fire Emblem bad joke is pretty old at this point, but the series had enough reps already, and to use a DLC slot on another Fire Emblem character that even some of the series' fans didn't think was a good choice, that kinda seems like a waste to me. The trailer was cute, I guess, and it's funny how Sothis says,
"Too many swordsmen, are there?"
pretty much poking fun at the entire Smash fan base. The character themselves is nothing to write home about, although I suppose I should give a standing ovation that it's a Fire Emblem character that uses more than one weapon and also doesn't have a counter. Yes, I know that Robin doesn't have a counter either, but that's the only other Fire Emblem character without a counter. Their gimmick is, well, they really don't have any special attributes like the DLC up to this point, so I guess they just fit the slow and powerful niche pretty well. Their final smash isn't really all that great, it's just a large swing of the chainsword. Yippee. The alt switch between male and female Bileth, and I don't know why male Bileth is the default costume when female Bileth is like 100 times more popular. Some cool references to 3 houses in the alts, and that's about it. The victory screens and taunts are forgettable. I can't even remember a single one if I'm being honest. The stage is just another Fire Emblem castle type stage. There's really nothing to say other than I like that it's a traveling stage and the guard outside is apparently well liked, so that's good. The spirit board exists and the music tracks are your typical Fire Emblem fanfare. The Mii costumes were unsurprisingly better than the character this time around. Altair from Assassin's Creed, and I love me some Assassin's Creed, but I wish that he came with a music track. A rabbit hat, X and Mega Man.exe from the Mega Man series, and Cuphead, who comes with a remix of Floral Fury. When the Mii costumes are more hype and better than the character, that really speaks volumes about the selection. I know that Pokemon has just as many characters and Mario has one more than Fire Emblem does, but at least those characters are mostly unique. Fire Emblem characters rely way too heavily on the sword character trope, and while swords are indeed a very commonly used weapon throughout history, they don't all have to use them the exact same way, man. There are rumors that Bileth was the quickly cobbled together remnants of a work-in-progress Monster Hunter character after a Capcom deal fell through, and yeah, I can see that, and I wish they just scrapped it. I'm giving this DLC wave a generous score of 3 out of 10. A disappointing character that feels half-baked, a generic stage, and a piss-poor way to end the first Fighter's Pass. The only redeeming factor here are the Mii costumes, which add at least 2 points to the total. I'm gonna go brush my teeth to get the bad taste out of my mouth, but after that, let's move on to Fighters Pass 2. Opening Fighters Pass 2 as Challenger Pack 6, we have Min Min, the second first-party fighter in Smash Ultimate's DLC, and one that feels a lot more developed than the last. Take notes. Min Min hails from ARMS, a Nintendo Switch fighting-ish game that didn't do all too well, but still has its fans. The announcement that an ARMS character would join Smash dropped in a Nintendo Direct Mini on March 26, 2020, and I'm not sure how to feel about this. Preemptively revealing the franchise of the next fighter kinda killed some of the hype, but it also prepared people for the disappointment that the fighter wasn't third party, so I guess this was a way to curb some potential uproar. It didn't fully curb the uproar, as people on Twitter still called Nintendo and Sakurai racist for not choosing Twintel, which is reason number 7,000 to stay away from Twitter, but I digress. I would have taken either character. I think they're both really cool, but come on, man, that behavior really isn't acceptable, and you don't have to, like, personally target the director of the game just because your chosen character didn't get in, and you especially don't have to accuse them of racism just because the character that got in doesn't have your preferred skin color. I digress, because obviously those are the vocal minority of ARMS fans who are just genuinely stupid. She was revealed in a Sakurai Presents on June 22nd, 2020, and released a week later on June 29th. I like her trailer a lot. Its animation style fits ARMS, Captain Falcon and Kirby's inclusions are great, and the fight scene is fun to watch. As for her playstyle, she's a technical zoning character. Her tilts use one of her arms, and her specials use the other. With her down special, she can change her second arm into 3 possible configurations. One is Ram, a ring that is good for zoning and racking up damage. Another is Megawatt, a giant bead good for dealing tons of damage and getting easy kills. And the third is Dragon, which is more of an all-rounder that deals okay damage and is kinda useful for zoning. Her up smash reflects projectiles, which is a callback to her home game, and her grab is pretty unique as it goes far and lets her stop you in your tracks. The rest of her moves are pretty run-of-the-mill for a person with springy arms. Her final smash is pretty fun, summoning other ARMS characters to wail on you before doing one massive blast with her dragon arm. Her ults are all pretty cool, referencing other ARMS characters and potentially ramen flavors. I mean, she does work at a ramen shop, and her name does translate to Noodle Noodle, so... Her taunts are pretty standard for a fighting game character, and her victory screens really aren't anything to write home about. Her home stage, Spring Stadium, is really fun to play on. The bounce pads add a lot of personality to the stage, and the crowd in the background makes you feel like you're in a live ARMS match. Of course, I only play with hazards off as to not trigger the Smash community, but it's still fun to look at nevertheless. Her spirit board is certainly that, and her music selection is pretty good for a standalone game, 18 tracks. Why they didn't include more or more remixes is beyond me since they own the series, but I guess I'll never know. This round of Mii costumes is pretty good. Ninjara from ARMS, who was another popular choice among fans other than Twintel, so it's cool that he made it in some form, Heihachi from Tekken, Marie and Callie from Splatoon, and Vault Boy from Fallout. It's cool to see him here. Bethesda was okay with lending their IP to Smash, although not for a playable character, but now that they're owned by Microsoft, it's just more Xbox representation in this game. Overall, I give this wave a 7 out of 10. Pretty solid character from an unrepresented franchise, a good stage and music selection, and a handful of good Mii costumes. On to Challenger Pack 7. I love Minecraft and grew up with it, so seeing Steve join Smash was absolutely amazing. This is another example of the great relationship between Microsoft and Nintendo, and...
Can I come out now?
Can I come out now? And it makes me happy to see 2 major companies cross over like this. The trailer is great and full of classic Minecraft references that I really appreciate, like zombies breaking down village doors. He was revealed on October 3rd, 2020 in a dedicated presentation and released on October 13th, 10 days later. Steve is more of a campy character, and that's a shame because I would love to main him, but I really don't like his playstyle. He's chock full of Minecraft references, from lava buckets to anvils to an entire crafting system that allows him to mine the ground with Neutral B, then stand next to a crafting table while holding Neutral B to upgrade his tools. Diamond tools are lethal in this game, and I'm a big fan of how deadly he can be if you set up correctly. The fact that his throws pin you in fences is pretty cute, and his minecart side B that grabs you and can push you off the edge of the stage to your doom is pretty hilarious as well. His final smash is awesome, featuring him tossing you into a dungeon filled with TNT and victoriously eating a steak while you blow up. His victory screens are all really cool, my favorite being the one where he builds an entire house, and I would be remiss not to mention the fact that they had to patch the one where he eats steak because people kept making phallic jokes. His alt costumes are all really cool, and I like the idea that you can play as common mobs, although I wish that they went all in with this idea and let you play as a husk or a blaze or something. His taunts are also pretty funny, and I like that Sakurai knew what the crouching motion was used for by the player base. I'm glad he also had the diamond sword prop, that was a funny touch. His stage is really cute, and I'm glad that it switches between different Minecraft biomes and times of day to show the true scope of Minecraft's scenery. His spirit board is actually worth mentioning and is full of cool references to Minecraft, like green Kirby's acting as slimes at different sizes. The music selection is a bit weird. None of the music from the original game is present here, just 7 tracks, 6 of which are remixes from the spin-offs. The excuse they used was that the original music wouldn't fit Smash, but neither does Pikmin's music, so I'm gonna chalk it up to a licensing issue. This Miiwave was pretty alright. It featured Pig, Creeper, and the Diamond Armor from Minecraft, Gil from the Tower of Druaga, a Bomberman costume that would change colors depending on the favorite color of the Mii, which was a good touch, and Travis Touchdown. No real comments here other than I don't know why people were so insistent that Travis was 100% gonna be a character. As much as I love Steve, this DLC wave is a 9.5 out of 10, and that's only because I wish the skins were a little bit more diverse and because of the lack of the original game's music tracks. Challenger Pack 8, here we come. To be honest, I didn't know Sephiroth's theme when he was revealed, but as soon as it zoomed in on his face in the trailer, I said, oh yeah, that's Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII. One of the most iconic villains in video game history who I've since become much better acquainted with, Sephiroth was a great choice to not only represent villains within the Fighter's Pass, but to introduce more much-needed Final Fantasy content into Smash Bros. His trailer is the best in Smash Ultimate's run in my opinion. From the Mario death fake-out that references Advent Children, to the final battle between Cloud and Sephiroth, everything here is just about perfect. He was revealed at the 2020 Game Awards on December 10th and featured in a Sakurai Presents on December 17th. From there, you could wait 5 days to get him on December 22nd, or unlock him immediately with the limited time Sephiroth Challenge. The Sephiroth Challenge was just a simple boss fight against Sephiroth that could be used to unlock him early, and that's all it was. However, other than the obvious answer of Square's stinginess, why was this a limited time event? They could have kept it in and transformed it into a boss mode, adding more themed bosses down the line, although I suppose good things never last. Sephiroth himself is a floaty character with a massive sword that extends his reach beyond that of a traditional sword character. As a result, his aerials and tilts have massive hitboxes, making him good at racking up damage. His specials are also pretty cool. He can create a massive explosion with neutral special, curse the opponent to take damage later with side special, or nullify their moves with his down special. His up special, Octo Slash, is also good for recovering and racking up damage. Overall, I really like how he plays, and he's a breath of fresh air to the sword character archetype. Are you writing all this down, Bileth? You better be, Teach, because there's going to be a quiz on it later. His final smash is pretty awesome, being a direct reference to his most powerful move in Final Fantasy VII, Supernova. He basically transforms himself into his true form and creates an illusion of blowing up the galaxy, which leaves the opponents with after effects like a shield break or sleep effect. It's flashy, a perfect reference, and fits Sephiroth really well. His alt costumes are all pretty boring, just being different dark shades of color, but at least he has 2 shirtless alts. His victory screens are the best in the game, directly referencing Sephiroth burning down Nibelheim. His taunts are also pretty villainous and fit him pretty well. Northern Cave is a really cool stage that was banned by most of the Smash community immediately for being too distracting to fight on, or whatever. I like its style, and it's the perfect other Final Fantasy VII stage to include. His spirit board adds more Final Fantasy spirits, and he brings some much needed music to the table, if not much at all, but we'll take what we can get at this point. This wave of Miis was pretty good. Tifa, Barret, and Aerith make appearances, as well as the returning Chocobo hat and Geno from Super Mario RPG. Oh Geno, I'd almost feel bad for you and your fans if a vocal minority of them weren't harassing the development team and spamming them after he was revealed as a Mii costume. I kid, of course. To the cool Mario RPG fans, rock on. To the ones who consistently whine about your character not being included, you have to understand that he's an obscure side character that has only appeared in 2 games and is not well known to the general consumer. And before you pull out the, Sakurai said that a character's popularity doesn't matter as long as they're fun to play. Nintendo has to sell these characters, and the lesser known they are, the less revenue they'll bring in. It's unfortunately business. And the sooner you stop being man-children about it, the sooner you might see a boosted chance of him making it in. Okay, that was a mouthful. Anyways, this wave is a 9 out of 10. I wish that we got a few more music tracks, but I'm not surprised that we didn't. On to Challenger Pack 9, just above the halfway point in Pass 2. I'm pleasantly surprised that these characters were chosen instead of Rex, but props to Nintendo for not going with the obvious option. Pyro and Mithril were revealed in a February 17th, 2021 Nintendo Direct and released on March 4th, 2021, just a day shy of my birthday. I didn't really care about these characters, but I was willing to give them a shot seeing as Xenoblade had so little representation within Smash Bros. The trailer was alright, nothing memorable, but as soon as I saw the not actually gameplay footage tag, I knew it was a Smash reveal, but I guess I'll act surprised. They're considered by most to be the best character in the game, and they're considered by me to be incredibly annoying to play against. They're pretty well crafted, don't get me wrong. Mithril racks up damage using quick attacks, and Pyro has kill power with slow attacks, and you can switch between them with the down B. I just don't like how they literally have every option for fighting. I think that jack-of-all-trade characters shouldn't be completely broken in every regard, but lo and behold, Xenoblade 2 is here! I'm gonna leave the moveset at that, along with the quick mention that Mithra's side B is incredibly annoying. She gets to be everywhere and punish you for doing nothing. Yes, I know I can roll through it, and I often do, it's just annoying to deal with when she's constantly flying across the stage like Harry Potter. Their final smashes are alright. They have two of them. Pyro creates a beam of fire, and Mithra rains down projectiles onto the stage. I do like how Rex appears there and in their taunts, at least he got some form of action besides a goofy me costume. Their victory screens are unremarkable and just play off the switching mechanics, so I'm not going to mention them any further. The stage, Cloud Sea of All Rest, is pretty solid. I like that the whole thing takes place on the back of a turtle, and I always appreciate it when characters from the series are visible in the background. There's a spirit board somewhere, and the music is okay, 16 tracks with 3 of them being remixes. I wish there were more remixes here to get a better ratio, but this is still a good amount of music tracks for a DLC pack. It's no SNK, but it'll do. The Mii costumes in this wave were okay and very Capcom-centric. Rathalos and Hunter gear for both male and female Miis, hailing from the Monster Hunter series, as well as a feline hat, and Sir Arthur's armor from Ghosts and Goblins. This wave gets a 7 out of 10 from me, mostly because the characters annoy me, but also because I wish there were more remixes and more diverse Mii outfits. Let's see who's behind the curtain of Challenger Pack 10. What? A character from Tekken? But according to the arbitrarily created fan rules, since Heihachi was a paid Mii costume, one from his series can never make it in! This is obviously sarcasm, but I just want to stress how stupid fan rules are. I get that if a character themselves is a paid Mii costume, then they're out of the running, but the series itself shouldn't be counted out. I like Tekken a lot, so seeing Kazuya join Smash to throw some people off of cliffs and kick some ass was a treat. His trailer is awesome for the same reasons, and the ending with Kirby is a really cute touch. He was revealed at E3 2021 on June 15th, and he received a Sakurai Presents on June 28th, with his release date being just a day later on June 29th, 2021. He's the most technical fighting game character in my opinion, seeing as he has a total of 21 additional command input attacks on top of his basic moveset. Now, to be fair, some of these are more complicated than others. For one, all you have to do is press A while coming up from a crouch, but for another, it's an entirely intricate series of button presses. He's a combo-heavy character with a surprisingly good recovery for a heavy and the ability to tap into his Devil Gene to transform for his throws, smash attacks, and specials. I like his playstyle a lot, and while he can be entirely annoying to fight against, he's really fun to play, so I suppose I'll let it slide. His victory screens are good, although I wish his famous smile was included, but as it stands, they fit him well. His taunts are cool as well, with his side taunt actually doubling as a move, and that's a pretty cool feature. His final smash is also really cool, and I enjoy how he taps into the Devil Gene for some extra power. I like that his alt costumes include both shirtless and suited variations, and how one of them references his son, Jin Kazuma. His stage, in my opinion, is one of the better fighting game stages in this game, and the destructible walls are a cool feature. Heihachi meditating in the back of the Mishima dojo and getting up to react to KOs is also a nice touch and makes me wish that he was also a playable character in this game. There's also a spirit board with a nice selection of Tekken spirits, and all of them make sense seeing as they're series mainstays. I also like that Jin could be enhanced into Devil Jin. 39 songs is a great amount of music, and there's a nice balance between original songs and remixed ones. I'm not surprised that there are so many since Bandai helped with this game's development, but it's still nice to see. The Mii costume wave this time around is what I like to call a deconfirm fest. Many video game icons that people wanted in as playable characters got converted into Mii outfits. This isn't a bad thing, as it's good that they're represented at all, but I feel the pain of those who wanted these characters and didn't get them in their fully realized form. Except for the specific subset of Devil May Cry fans who were so certain that Dante would get in that they'd bully fans of other characters when they got deconfirmed. To them, I say, how's that salt taste? Along with Dante, the characters given the Mii treatment were Lloyd from Tales of Symphonia, Dovahkiin or Dragonborn from Skyrim, and Shantae, who comes with a remix of Burning Town. A cool and diverse wave of costumes is always refreshing to see. I have to give this wave a 10 out of 10. A cool character with great mechanics, a stage that looks awesome in any of its forms, Battlefield Omega or normal, 39 songs, an actually good spirit board, and a nice handful of Mii costumes. Sign me up! On to the final character of Smash Ultimate's DLC, Challenger Pack 11. When this character was first revealed, I was honestly kind of sad that my character of choice, Doomguy or Doomslayer, whichever you prefer, was relegated to a me, but I understand just how massive his inclusion is, and I think he's one of the best ways that Ultimate could have ended, besides maybe Master Chief. He was revealed on October 5th, 2021 in a dedicated Sakurai Presents presentation branded as The Final Challenger. His trailer was pretty good, although at the time I thought they were revealing Taboo, which was another disappointment, but the shot at the end where Mario shakes Sora's hand with the Smash Ball and an entire cast in the background is priceless, and that was a treat to see for the first time. His moveset fits him very well, and while I do find him a tad annoying to play against, I can't deny that he's well crafted. His neutral B rotates through 3 different specials, Firaga, Thundaga, and Blizzaga, and this is such a clever way to incorporate more moves into a character other than using command inputs. His side B is fun to glide through the air with, his up B is fun to use to get early kills, and his counter is good for pissing the opponent off. I'm glad we got a really well designed character to end Ultimate off with. His ult costumes are great, each referencing a different game in the series, sans a few recolors, but his Timeless River design is really the showstopper here, and it's just about the only one I've seen people use. His final smash is really cool and feels like a good cinematic way to end the match, locking your opponents away forever. His victory screens and taunts are really cool, especially those that reference different elements from his home series, like his healing spell taunt. I'm honestly glad that they didn't incorporate Donald and Goofy into Smash Bros at all, because that would kind of defeat the point of a video games only crossover altogether. Hollow Bastion is a really cool stage to look at and play on, and I feel like they ended on a tournament legal stage to throw competitive players a bone. His Spirit board thankfully contains no references to fourth-party non-video game media, and he does have a decent selection of music considering that he's licensed from Disney. 9 tracks, 10 if you count the bonus one you get for playing Melody of Memory. I wish that there was more music, remixes or otherwise, but this is Disney we're talking about, so I'll take what we can get. The Mii costumes this time around were pretty unique. 2 of them were bland, and 1 was a knife to my gut. I kid, but seeing my beloved Doomslayer relegated to a Mii costume kinda stings. I'm honestly glad he made it in any form, but I would have liked to see him get a music track. I do think that he's the best looking Mii costume in the game, so there's that. The other 2, Octoling and Judd, are unremarkable but scared me at the time because I thought they were going to end on a random Splatoon character, and I am glad we avoided that possible disaster. Overall, I give this wave an 8 out of 10. Pretty good character, good Mii outfits, but could use more music, and I kinda wish they ended on someone more mind-blowing like Master Chief. Then again, Sora is a pretty big deal, and despite him probably not getting an amiibo, I'm just surprised that Disney was willing to play ball with Nintendo at all. Well, that's the whole Smash Ultimate DLC run, and hoo boy, was it a pretty good set of DLC. Its overall score rounds out to 96.5 out of 120, with an average score of 80.42%. Granted, Bileth drags that down, but deservedly so. Pretty damn good. But just for fun, is it possible to make a 5-slot Fighters Pass that's 100% satisfactory in my opinion and only my opinion? Like, say Sakurai came to me personally and said, here's 5 slots, anyone you want. What would I do? Well, let's quickly get into it. I'm not going to list any Miis that I want to see, nor will I list any music, otherwise we'd be here for hours. Challenger Pack 12 would be Ezio Auditore de Firenze. Wielding tools such as 2 hidden blades, throwing knives, smoke bombs, and Da Vinci's flight machine as a potential up special, he'd fit into the roster perfectly. Challenger Pack 13 would be Doomslayer. With a vast array of guns, equipment, and creative ways to take down his opponents, his quest to exterminate hell will have to be put on hold as he dukes it out with the finest warriors around. Challenger Pack 14 would be Freddy Fazbear. The killer robot bear is ready to hunt his opponents and pounce when they least expect it. Using the power of the spirit within him, Freddy's ready to generate spooks and scares galore to finish off his opponents once and for all. Challenger Pack 15 would be Scorpion. One of the final major unrepresented fighting game franchises, Scorpion has figured out how to control his violent tendencies so that he may be invited to smash. Wielding katanas, his trademark spear, and the power of Hellfire, he'll enact his revenge on every single pitiful being who threatens him. And finally, Challenger Pack 16 would be Master Chief. Having Doomguy and Master Chief, 2 similarly designed combat marines, in the same pass could be risky, but this is too great of an opportunity to pass up. Chief's moveset could be versatile and incorporate weapons from all across the Halo series. Maybe Cortana could give him a helping hand. Well, That's all for this retrospective, and oh boy, was this a lot of work to set up. Consider leaving a like and subscribing for more future video game content if you enjoyed the video. And until next time, I've been RNGenie. Peace out for now.